Lucky Number Slevin isn't really a film that gets much love, and I never understood why. Too quirky, too smart for its own good, a Tarantino ripoff. These are the typical negative responses to the film. But since viewing it for the first time back in 2006, I always considered Lucky Number Slevin one of my favorites. Why Lucky Number Slevin works. Maybe the trailer is to blame. In Lucky Number Slevin's trailer, the viewer is set up to believe that this is just a quirky, Guy Ritchie-styled crime comedy with a side of mistaken identity. Hell, even the back of the box confirmed this. When down on his luck Slevin stumbles into a running feud between the city's most feared crime bosses, he ignites an all-out war. Tracked by a mysterious assassin and distracted by his flirtatious neighbor, Slevin must try to cheat death by turning the tables on the gangsters. Yes, the majority of the film is about the so-called Slevin Culebra being mistaken for his friend, Nick Fisher, a man who seemingly has gambling problems and owes money to two bookies of two different crime syndicates. Slevin being at Nick's apartment when the goons come knocking leads to his current situation of owing some very bad people a hefty sum of money. Classic case of wrong place, wrong time. Add in a budding war between two crime syndicates and Nick, the missing friend, and there's your film. Of course, until the big twist is revealed that Slevin is in fact in cahoots with the assassin Good Cat. Their intention is to take revenge and murder both crime bosses because Slevin is actually Henry, the kid from Good Cat's story from the beginning. Now, while this revelation may have surprised many with a WTF moment, Lucky Number Slevin clearly peppers in hints along the way. You need to pay attention, as many of them can actually be easily missed, but there are some very important details that the movie throws right at your face, almost screaming, hey, pay attention. The Kansas City Shuffle. Yes, when everyone looks right, you go left. A misdirection bait-and-switch con, which is actually based off a real form of a bait-and-switch scheme. Via Wikipedia, in order for a confidence game to be a Kansas City Shuffle, the mark must be aware, or at least suspect that he is involved in a con, but also be wrong about how the con artist is planning to deceive him. The con artist will attempt to misdirect the mark in a way that leaves him with the impression that he has figured out the game and has the knowledge necessary to outsmart the con artist, but by attempting to reiterate, the mark unwittingly performs an action that helps the con artist to further the scheme. The example they give, a con man bets a mark money that he can't tell him what state Kansas City is in. The mark's thinking here, this con man wants me to say Kansas, but I know that Kansas City is actually in Missouri. Following the answer, the con man reveals that there is also a Kansas City in Kansas, meaning that Kansas was actually the correct answer. In the opening of Lucky Number Slevin, Good Cat tells Nick Fisher and the viewer to expect a Kansas City Shuffle.
What's a Kansas City Shuffle?
Kansas City Shuffle is when everybody looks right. You go left.
This is not some random crazy twist just to make the film memorable. The film itself is the con. We, the viewer, do not know about the revenge master plan, but think we're watching a dark comedy about a case of missing identity. Get the viewer to look right, and the film goes left. Good Cat and the kid, Henry/Slevin, also runs the Kansas City Shuffle on both the rabbi and the boss, as they are tricked into hiring their own killers. The reveal near the end that this is actually a tale of revenge will shockingly hit the audience if they haven't been paying attention to the details. The devil is in the details. There are many, many hints throughout the film that allude to the revenge plot. I already mentioned the Kansas City Shuffle explanation at the beginning of the film with Good Cat, but there are quite a few more. This is one of the reasons why I consider this such a fun film, as there seems to always be something new to pick up on. Some foreshadowing, other literal hints at true intentions of Good Cat and Henry, and even some objects that are basically hidden in plain sight. Baseball. In the opening minutes, we see a bookie killed by a perfectly thrown baseball to the head. At the end of the film, it's revealed that it actually was Henry, as he needed the bookie's book. During Good Cat's flashback story, Max takes his son to a baseball game, but we really know that he takes him to the racetrack. Henry takes his ball and glove with him. A hint that the killer of the bookie is Henry through the baseball connection. Watches. Henry yells at his father Max before he heads out of the car to place the bet that he needs his watch.
Wait, watch.
Almost forgot. 15 minutes. Start counting.
Keep an eye on the watch itself, as it's rectangular and on a steel bracelet. When Lindsay questions why the mugger didn't steal Slevin's watch, Slevin says,
It's a fake.
And you can sort of make out the shape of the watch during this scene. It's the same as Max's. Later on, Slevin swaps the watch onto Nick's body to make it look as if it's Slevin who actually burned alive. This still is not completely revealing everything, unless you've been paying close attention, but it's as close to an obvious hint that you'll get before the ultimate reveal. Flashbacks. Specifically Slevin's flashback where he accounts for why and how he ended up at Nick's apartment. Bad things happen in threes. 1. He lost his job. 2. His apartment was condemned due to termites, so he went to his girlfriend's apartment only to find her cheating on him. 3. Mugged on the streets of the city, hence the busted nose and black eye. The first hint that this is a BS story comes right from the film when Lindsay calls Slevin out for that not being 3 bad situations, but 4.
You said 3.
What?
You said bad things happen in 3s. You lost your job, your apartment building was condemned, Kelly was cheating on you, and you got mugged. That makes 4.
Oh, when you're on a roll, you're on a roll.
It sounds like someone's lying. Another hint, the low frame rate and overexposed way the flashbacks are shot. We see a flashback at the start of the film when Good Cat is explaining the Kansas City Shuffle to the real Nick Fisher. It looks pretty normal, cinematography-wise. Slevin's lies are shot in a very different style. Now, Lucky Number Slevin does mess with the viewer a bit here, as Lindsay's flashback about seeing Good Cat on the elevator and seeing Slevin come out of the building across the street is also shot this way, but I think this is just another example of how the whole film is a Kansas City Shuffle in itself, how it deceives the viewer. What does this all say about Slevin? He is an unreliable narrator. He is not credible, and this is a way to throw us off the story so we can experience that big twist reveal at the end. Think how Fight Club or Gone Girl handles their main characters. Tyler Durden isn't real, and Amy's flashbacks are completely fabricated. Wallpaper. There is something going on with the wallpaper, and that's probably a video for another day, as I'm still attempting to work it all out. I'm still not sure if it's more than just a production design choice. Either way, it definitely stands out as unique, and personally, I think it's pretty cool. Let's take a look at it anyway. The wallpaper in Slevin's flashback with his fake girlfriend are black and white, first starting out as lines, slowly morphing to waves, followed by floral chaos when it's revealed that she's in the act cheating on him. Nick Fisher's apartment, by contrast, is floral, as is Lindsay's. The two, being Slevin and Lindsay, wind up together at the end of the film as a couple. This is possibly a sign that they were meant to be. Now looking at the boss's dark, strong lines and a reddish-orange theme, as well as the rabbi's set that includes more strong lines while taking a more obvious blue theme. Both include sections that have some sort of stained glass windows. Let me know what you think here. I'm thinking this may be a hint at a link between the two. They are both obviously being swindled by Slevin, and they are both linked to his revenge. The strong lines could represent their power, while the stained glass may be connecting the two of them to each other, both for what they did in the past and how they now live their lives, stuck in these buildings fearful of each other. Then, the boss's floor is chaotic black and white, with almost broken-looking rectangular shapes, the black and white linking to Slevin, and the shapes showing their demise and fall into chaos, as they both end up dying and being swindled by Good Cat and Slevin. As I said, I think there's something to this. Character hints. There are some more obvious character hints to pick up on. The way the rabbi holds the cut-off shotgun. Detective Brukowski mentioned,
Between you and me, 20 years ago, he used to be my bookie.
the boss's ring when they're playing chess. We actually see it at the beginning when Slevin's father is getting beat up. Obvious foreshadowing from Good Cat telling the rabbi,
The kid and I have unfinished business.
I love when movies have these extra details to uncover. It's fun to have that realization of, hey, I recognize that from the beginning. Personally, it allows me to enjoy rewatches, especially when the film in general is a fun time.
The first time somebody calls you a horse, you punch him on the nose. The second time somebody calls you a horse, you call him a jerk. But the third time somebody calls you a horse, well, then perhaps it's time to go shopping for a saddle.
Listen, I get that Lucky Number Slevin is not this mind-blowing, in-depth work of art, but still, I don't think it gets the credit that it deserves, especially for the fact that it literally tells you what it's going to be, a Kansas City Shuffle.